All right, check this out. So President Trump calls Putin crazy, and Russia is responding. Let's check this out. Y'all like the video? Subscribe if you're new here. Here we go.
The New York Post cover calling out the, quote, war of words between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Tensions are rising after Russia launched its largest attacks of the entire three-year war this weekend. Here's the president on Sunday.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all.
A few hours later, the president posted that Putin has gone absolutely crazy, exclamation point. The Kremlin responded with, this is a very crucial moment, which is associated with, of course, the emotional overload and with emotional reactions. Just last Monday, President Trump and Putin of Russia held a 2-hour phone call on a potential ceasefire. Here's White House Ukraine envoy, retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg.
He's done more in 120 days than the previous administration did 1,200 days. I think he just needs to keep at it. It's frustrating, I know that. But the only guy that can do this is President Trump. You know, negotiations are never easy, but there's nowhere this war is going to end through violence, through killing of soldiers on either side. Right. It's going to come down to negotiation.
President Trump also signaled he's absolutely considering new sanctions against Russia. The New York Post editorial board headline, new sanctions can shock crazy Putin to his senses. In focus now, Republican Congressman Brian Mast of the great state of Florida, chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Great to see you. Always thank you for your service as well. Look, Congressman, we are at a point now where President Trump seems to be running out of patience with Putin. And that means money taken away from the Russian people. Will that work?
I think it's a big part of it. You know, I think Putin is negotiating this, not even negotiating it, looking for his terms at the table. Yeah. And he reads this as, if he can continue to take life and if he can continue to take land in kilometers away from Ukraine, then that puts him in a stronger position to get all of the terms that he wants. And I don't think that he looks at anything other than that, doesn't see the value of life. And so I think President Trump justly characterizes him as crazy. If you have no value in human life, then you are a crazy person. Does he see the loss of resources in terms of 10% or greater of his economy just going to military spending, the extreme high inflation going on in Russia right now, the inability to provide for their people, and the sanctions going on, not just against Russia, but against those that are going to buy from Russia? Yeah, that's going to continue to cripple their economy. But at a certain point, he has to either, you know, take value for human life, or everybody's going to recognize that he is the war criminal that we have been saying that he is. And I would just make one other point on this. Even if Putin is in a strong position because he can continue to take life and take land, he's getting himself into a position, I think, that the world never takes him or Russia back.
So that's interesting. And clearly he's all in, doesn't matter what it costs in terms of hurting his own people. He doesn't care. And we've always known that about him. That's not breaking news about Putin. But at this point in history, he thinks that he can win. Can he?
I think he can continue, just what I said, I think he can continue to take land and life. Now, there are some positive things that are going on in this situation as well. You have Ukraine and you have Russia in direct talks with one another right now. You have Ukraine and Russia exchanging prisoners right now. They've exchanged about 600 troops each side in total. By the end of this week, probably they'll be up to 1,000. So you have some positive things going on. And on the Ukrainian side, you do have them with the capabilities to actually hit inside Russia proper. Russia has had to close down commerce in different places and different airports because Ukraine is taking the fight to them. But Ukraine essentially cannot stop them right now. I'd use the words of Marco Rubio last week when he testified to me. He said, listen, Russia wants something that doesn't belong to them, and Ukraine cannot take back what's stolen from them right now. That's the difficult position that we're in.
Wow. Just real quickly, yes or no, are we going to help them with the air support that Ukraine is begging for right now?
I think we're going to continue to allow European countries to give to Ukraine what they're asking for. They have to ask permission from the United States of America if they got those weapons from us. If we sold them to them, we will continue to allow that to take place.
All right, we'll move to this. President.
What do y'all think? Check this one out too.
It wasn't us who organized the coup in Ukraine. We constantly heard that democracy and the rule of law and elections are paramount, but they staged a coup, a bloody coup at that. And they went full on, tried to conquer the Donbass and killing people with helicopters. They forced us to do what we're now doing. And they're trying to make it look as if it's our fault. And the next step, and it's no coincidence that I said that one of our greatest concerns was software and cybersecurity. And of course, we also had financial institutions working actively to address this, and we had many of our people working in our foreign companies. But you managed to collect the resources that you needed, and that is good.
Hume and Britt, you heard what President Trump had to say there about Russia. You reacted to it a short while ago, saying that you're glad to hear President Trump say this. Putin hasn't changed. He's always been a brutal tyrant. But do you think those comments mean a change from the White House? Are we going to see sanctions, or does President Trump just wash his hands of this whole thing?
I think it's something to hope for, Rich. I do. But the president has always had a very odd conception of Vladimir Putin. I think he's thought that he and Putin could be kind of friends and partners and could make deals together and so on. I don't think Putin has changed. I don't know what the president's talking about. This is the way Putin has always been. He's always been a particularly brutal dictator, willing to take whatever measures he thought necessary to advance his interests, whatever he thought he could get away with. He thought he could get away with invading Ukraine. He thought he could conquer Ukraine in a matter of days. He failed to do that, and he has been spending his own people's blood and treasure for as long as he's needed to after that. And now he seems more intent than ever. He's the same old Vladimir Putin. So I hope the president has had a real moment of truth about him, and will proceed accordingly. He does, as you've just heard pointed out, have leverage, economic leverage in particular, but military leverage as well, because we could supply the Ukrainians with more arms than we have, and that might turn the tide.
That's been a perspective in Congress, even within the president's own party. Some are now saying it's time to get the sanctions on. Here's what Senator Chuck Grassley had to say. He wrote, "I've had enough of Putin killing innocent people. President Trump, take action, at least on sanctions." Do you think that Congress is going to act here with or without the president's blessing?
Well, I think it'd be hard for Congress to act without the president participating, but I think that the sanctions are really a possibility for the president and for Congress if they choose to work together in this instance, because Russia is dependent on oil sales and oil transfers and energy. That's, you've heard it said that that country is nothing but a gas station with nuclear weapons. And there's some truth in that. And if we were to impose secondary sanctions on countries that are buying oil and natural gas from Russia, that could have a real impact on the Russian economy, and it's something I think Putin would feel, and it might get him to change his ways. Whether we'll do that, I don't know, but at least the president says he's considering it, and that's something to be celebrated, I think.
Another conversation in Washington, of course, on all this reporting about former President Biden's condition when he was president of the United States. Here is what one of the co-authors of that new book out had to say.
Oh, hell yeah. This stuff is crazy, too.
These aides were not even Senate-confirmed aides. These are White House aides. These were unelected people. And one of the things that really, I think, comes out in our reporting here is that if you believe, and I think a lot of these people do sincerely believe.
But hold on, before that, so they were talking about, Putin being like just evil incarnate, basically. But check this out. There was this video that I saw on X. Where is it? And they were like, I don't know what people are talking about. He's a nice man. And then they played this video. Tell me what you think about this. Saying he's just mild-mannered, just a super relaxed guy.
Молодец.
Nobody seems to be talking very much. I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think in the comments. Make sure you like the video, subscribe for more, do all the things YouTube. I'll see you on the next one.